Disputes over the spending and lending policies of the European Union bubbled over into a revolt against the British Prime Minister by his own party and a massive strike announced for next week in Greece. The political unrest comes as the European Union announced that unemployment had hit the highest rate recorded since the creation of the euro currency in 1996. Britain and Germany are looking at the same situation in a crisis and coming to opposite conclusions, said Helmut Müller, an analyst specializing on European issues at the German Council on Foreign Relations. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. In Berlin, Prime Minister David Cameron faced mutiny Wednesday from members of his own party, who demanded he reduce the country's contribution to the EU. Cameron has said he will not support an increase in the EU budget above the rate of inflation. The European Commission, the administrative arm of the EU, has proposed the budget of $1.3 trillion from 2014 to 2020, an increase of slightly over 1%. At a time when he is cutting the education budget by 11%, the transport budget by 15%, and the police budget by thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. 20%. How can we even be giving up on a cut to the EU budget before negotiations have even begun, said Miliband, leader of the opposition Labour Party, asked Parliament Wednesday. Britain, like other countries in the European Union, has faced austerity measures as the government attempts to get public spending under control. But while politicians argue that such cuts are necessary, some say that cuts at home mean that any increase in spending at an EU level would be inappropriate. It's in Britain's interests to compromise, but it is awkward politically for the thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Government, as it is with many governments having to cut spending at home but being called to increase spending in Europe, said Simon Tilford, chief economist at the Centre for European Reform. But Cameron is not in a position to go along with that compromise. If he loses the vote, it will be very hard to see how he can sign off on any increase in EU spending, Tilford said. The Conservatives are also agitating for less integration with the rest of Europe to avoid being ensnared into more responsibility for the debt crises. Thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Of countries such as Greece, Spain and Portugal, Germany has been pushing for greater financial unity among EU members so countries that are bailing out debtor nations have more say about how those nations handle their budgets. The German answer is essentially a more Europe answer and the British answer is a less Europe answer, Müller said. That is to a great extent motivated by the Conservative pressure in Cameron's party, but also I think it's part of a wider feeling in the UK that this economic and monetary union that is coming about, we didn't thank you for trying verbose. This recording will go away once the product has been purchased. Join that and we don't want it. England is not among the 17 EU members that have replaced their currencies for the euro. Meanwhile in Greece, the Journalists' Union called a 24-hour strike and the country's biggest labour unions said they will hold a rally next Wednesday in protest against new austerity cuts aimed at qualifying the country for further EU bailout money. And parties in Parliament are rebelling against the government as well. Greece delayed the vote on new austerity measures until next week because the country's three main thank you for trying verbose. This